Right, it was in my junk mail. Didn't expect to find it there. But I'm here.
All right, I'm not sure where Ken is, but we might as well get going.
Okay.
We won't have Angela. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to tell you that.
Okay. No problem at all. So Ken may join us. Angela will not. All right, May 20th. Work session. What do we have? 3 public hearing. I don't know if there's any discussion on those. We had 28 East Cedar, which there were revised plans that were sent.
Yeah. I guess the one thing I'm kind of concerned about on this one is that it's a really big mass that's on stilts and it's on the rear of the property, but there is a part that kind of sticks out towards the front a little bit and it's only 5 feet, but I was curious, I did request the front elevation just to see it. I know we won't see that in real life, a flat elevation like that in the drawing, but I guess I'm just a little worried about the design of it just being so massive on these little posts.
I had similar concerns, Tracy, and I'd like to have a conversation to maybe explore some opportunities to make the addition design a bit more compatible with the historic nature of the home. Specifically, we've got vinyl siding that's a kind of a much narrower reveal going up against the shingle style siding. And then also too, the proportion of the fenestration, I think could use some tweaking with the, we've got 5 very small transom windows and a couple of them are mulled together. And that just really doesn't appear to be in keeping with the overall style of the home. Maybe we could talk about maybe making some of those windows a little bit taller, maybe separating them as punched openings. And then I actually have been kind of thinking about this one. It's a really nice house. I drove by there. It's a beautiful house. And you do see that side from the road. There's a pretty clear view.
Yeah, okay.
And then as far as like the proportion and the whole thing being up, a big mass being up on some pretty small posts, I was thinking maybe we could talk about the possibility of making the posts look a little more substantial by trimming them out. And instead of having them on like just plain concrete piers sitting on grade, maybe if we had some like brick piers or something similar to the brick that's on the chimneys and set them up a little bit and add some trim to the columns like base and cap trims that would just kind of make it look more substantial to help visually balance out that mass. Well, we can talk about it. Yeah, this one has kind of been on my mind. So hopefully there's some opportunities to tweak this one a little bit.
Yeah, I think those are good comments. It's definitely when I looked at it, I thought it's definitely trying to be contemporary and of its own time, but maybe some of the proportions of the windows and the size of the columns could be reviewed. So all right, well we'll discuss that one. Next we have 32 South Maple with the rear deck. Are there any comments on that one?
I didn't have any comments on this one.
Yeah, I didn't either. Racy?
Let's see. Do we get updated drawings on this one too?
I don't think so. That's the one Colleen Architects did.
Oh yeah.
They had a lot of photographs and they're just expanding that deck on the back.
Oh, I have, oh yeah, the garage elevation, I have a note here, the garage elevation shows windows. But then there's a note somewhere in the documentation that said no windows.
Oh, are you talking about South Maple or 325 or 32?
Oh, sorry. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, never mind.
okay.
No
so-
comments, no comments on
so-
32.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't have any either. Okay, so now on to the other one,
Yeah.
which was 325. That's the detached garage. And you had some comments on that one, Tracy?
Yeah, that was what. sorry,
Okay,
was mixed up. The addresses are very similar.
yeah. Yes. Okay, what was your comment on that one?
The garage elevation shows windows, but then the written part says that there's no windows.
Okay,
So just some clarification on the door style.
sure. All right.
And I thought that, we have that really high bearing height at 10 feet. And I thought it might help kind of coordinate the proportion with the existing house a little bit better if we went to some wider trim, maybe on the corners and around the windows and the doors. Just, that's a real minor element, but I thought it might help coordinate the two structures a bit.
Mhm.
Trying to tie them together, yeah. A few small moves to help them relate to each other. I agree with that. All right. Next, we have, let's see, 2 pre-approvals. Then we have 318 South Forest, which was, there was an updated elevation sent on that one. Number 6. Okay, any comments on number 6?
Mm-mm.
My comments were all addressed in the updated elevation.
Mine too. So. Yep.
We
All right.
want to consider that one pre-approved with the updated elevations then?
Mhm.
Yep. We will pre-approve. All right, next we had 716 Tuxedo.
I had a question on the rear post style.
Okay,
Yeah, they're just drawn kind of really simple. I don't know if that's their intent.
mhm.
Yeah, I had a similar comment, I think, when this one was here in the information session. And then also too, I mean, for me, there was a lot of scope questions. Like, is the entire house being recited? Are the existing windows being replaced? There's no elevation at all of the right side. So I don't know if there's any scope of work for that at all. And it looks like we'll need some sort of steps or patio or something from the rear door down to grade. Looks like kind of a big step the way it is. And then there is still a whole lot of just uninterrupted siding on the left and rear elevations. Maybe something could be added there, additional windows, maybe some band trim or opportunities for some siding type variation. Maybe like in that gable, maybe pull around some of the shingle style siding that's shown on the turret. I think there's some things that can be done to add some interest to those elevations.
Yeah, I made a note, a similar note on the rear. I think one of the questions I proposed was, you could sneak a smaller window at the top of the stair, which might be nice. from the interior. To kind of help break some of that space up in the back. And maybe on the left side as well. So I think the idea of bringing some of that shingle around is a good suggestion. All right, so that's it on that list. Then we have two that are preliminary, which was 220 Clara and I'm trying to find my. That one, I made a comment about considering 2 windows in bedroom number 3. There it is.
To separate them on the wall a little bit more.
I don't know, I just always think if you have a bedroom's better with more than one window.
Yeah.
Spatially.
Oh, yeah, it is one.
To me, I'm just thinking about it from the interior
Mhm.
and the exterior. I thought the left side and the front looked really nice. The right side, it's pretty well composed, and so is the back. But that was, my reaction was I looked at the plan first and I thought, I don't know. So thought.
Yeah. I was thinking the little overhangs over the doors on the rear, they feel really high to me. I wonder if we want to drop those underneath the band board. Because they're pretty small. They're only 16 inches. So that high up, you're not really effectively protecting the door.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna say visually, I felt the same way. And I think you're right, functionally, it's a little less effective because they're not very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Carol, we were talking.
Oh, no worries. I just crossed my head as far as a construction item that the slope on those little shed roofs would have to be constructed pretty precisely in order to get it to kind of fit visually within that band board. So I think just lowering it would kind of solve that issue as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, anything else on that one?
No.
Number 9. All right, and then the last one was 621 Cornell. Any comments? New house. So it's marked preliminary.
Did get an update on this one.
We did.
Yeah, we did, and I printed it, and the question is, what did I do with it? Hang on, let me look at it on my phone.
I know, I'm having the same issue. Where did I put that thing?
It may be on the printer or something.
Yeah. Actually, it looks very similar to the old one, just the rail style.
Okay.
Changed from a
Oh, that's right.
steel railing to a
Yeah.
vinyl, white vinyl.
Was it this one? Was that it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, yeah.
I just had a few clarifications on this one. I don't know if on the drawings of the windows, these are just a few stray marks, like specifically on the front elevation, are all of those windows supposed to be like 2/2? Or are those just kind of stray marks that are on the window? Because it's a little bit hard to tell. Because we have a similar situation on the north elevation. I guess that one window toward the rear of the north elevation, I didn't know if that's supposed to be 2/2 or if they're all just supposed to be 1/1s. Just a little clarification on that one.
Yeah.
And then also, this is just a question. It looks like there's a triangular gable louver on the rear that's functional. And I didn't see any ridge vent or anything noted. So if that's actually ventilating that attic space, we would probably need to have one balancing it out on the front gable. So, you know, I didn't know if that was the intent, and if so, if there does need to be another vent on the front gable, maybe we would need to tweak that attic window down a bit. So that's just a clarification item. And then a couple of just totally optional suggestions, like maybe adding a horizontal trim board at the bottom of the gables, just to kind of give some variety there. And maybe considering like a taller window at the bottom of that stair landing instead of the transom. But those are just suggestions, not comments, so to speak.
Yeah,
I had noted a horizontal band board suggestion as well. And then also curious about the front porch column design. And then maybe considering a small shed roof over the side door.
mhm. Yeah, all in all, you don't see a footprint this small that often.
Mhm.
Very nice, compact little house. And it's very simple in its design, so, but I think for the most part, some of those clarifications are good. So,
What project are you, my invite was,
Hi.
you just found it.
hi Ken, did you find yours in your junk mail too?
Yeah. I don't know what's going-
That's where mine went somehow.
Okay, what address were you on there?
We're on the last one.
We just finished
621.
the last one, Ken.
I could have just stayed offline and had a beer.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, so we just finished the last one.
that's the little American Gothic.
Mhm.
Okay. My only comment was, and it's just a comment, I'm not, if they wanted to go to 4 columns and 3 bays on the porch as opposed to 5 columns, 4 bays, I thought that played with the windows a little better, but it's fine the way it is too.
Yeah, 'cause did they originally have 4, 3, and then now there's 4?
Well, everything I've seen always said the 4 bays, 5 columns.
Yeah, okay. Looking back and forth at the drawing. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Were there, there were some unanimous decisions, I guess. I'm sorry I missed all that.
oh, we made one pre-approval, that wasn't on the list. That was number 6, which was 318 South Forest. We all agreed with the updated elevations that we could pre-approve that. So we're gonna still talk about Tuxedo and then the last 2, because they're preliminary, and then we're gonna talk about the first 3 because they're public hearing.
Right. Okay.
So would you agree with a pre-approval on number 6, 318 South Forest? Ken?
318 South Forest. Yeah, I was approved as submitted.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so we're all on the same page.
That's the only one, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're close enough to time. I think we can officially begin the meeting, Bob.
Okay, great. Well, thanks and welcome everyone that's online. We just finished our work session with us tonight. We have Kelly Campbell and Will Penny with the city at the City Hall, and Emerson Smith, City Council member. Board members, Carol Dunkey, Tracy Collins, Ken Burns, and myself, Bob Buckman, all volunteer architects on the board. First, business is review of meeting minutes from May 6th, and 4 of the 5 of us are here. So I'll ask for a motion to approve those May 6th meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the May 6th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Next item, we have several pre-approvals. When I asked for a motion, I just asked that you review the agenda that was sent by Mara and Kelly. First one is 603 Sunnyside. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 603 Sunnyside with the clarification that there is a corner window proposed and that the garage posts will be wrapped to match the siding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. 603 Sunnyside is approved. Next, we have 23 St. George. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 23 St. George as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. It's my project.
Oh, that's right. Opposed? All right, so 23 St. George is approved. Next, we have 318 South Forest. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 318 South Forest based on the updated elevations sent on May 19th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 318 South Forest is approved. And last on the pre-approval is 401 Lee. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 401 Lee with the clarification that the top of the windows will be as close to the same location as the existing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, 401 Lee is approved. Next on our agenda, we have 3 public hearing projects in the historic districts, starting with 28 East Cedar. So if there's anyone online that's going to join us.
Anyone else? I've got one
Hello.
person.
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, welcome, Kurt.
Thank you. How are you all tonight?
Good.
Is that
Well,
Is there anyone else?
okay?
All right, so Kurt, I don't know if you heard some of our discussion.
I did.
So maybe we could either go through them or maybe have you talk. I'm open to either way.
I'll just start by saying that we are on a, most projects are, but we're on a pretty tight budget here. And, I know we have these piers, but the intent in the future is to have this be a covered patio. We didn't have it in the budget to put a patio under there now, but we are showing a ceiling fan there. So we're eventually gonna use it for that. As far as the windows are concerned, a lot of those shorter windows are in the closet. So we have shelving below those windows, but we could probably, I don't really like to do it because it would put the head of the windows above the other ones. And that's where they are now, but we can most definitely separate them if that would be something agreeable to do. We could definitely do that. So, and then what was your other comment? Your other comment was about the mass of the posts, and I think I spoke on that a little bit, but we're just on a budget here. We're trying to do this as economically as possible. And as far as the view from the street, the new set of drawings, the old set did show the addition sticking out 5 feet, but the new drawings only show it should only be 3 feet. And we have a chimney in front of that. So in essence, it's really only sticking out a foot beyond the existing residence, if you consider the chimney as well, so. And that's all I heard you all talk about, so.
Yep. Carol?
Yeah, my concern isn't just the 3 feet that you see from the front. It's the side elevation that has just the 2 windows that are the 2 high transom windows that are just kind of pressed together there on the east. That it just, the proportion of those windows just isn't in keeping with the overall style of the house. And I think separating them would help, but I also think that they could be made a little bit taller. I'm not saying to go to, very tall windows, but if you look at, say, on the east elevation, there's one smaller double hung window that has the 4/4 configuration.
Mhm.
If those transom windows were even made just as deep as the top sash only, I think that would help kind of tie the 2 elements together a bit better, the addition and the existing house. The proportion would be more consistent. And then just kind of follow suit with that configuration on those other transom windows. It's just, yeah, I think that would help a great deal. Also too, with the vinyl siding, what's the reveal on that vinyl siding?
You mean the lap size?
Yes, yes.
It's a standard 4-inch, but see their existing siding now is shingle cedar, and it's in really bad condition. So they don't plan on keeping that, but obviously we don't have that in the budget to do this, the whole house's project, but we don't want to match that because I mean, that's pretty tough to find and it's very expensive. So.
Yeah. I appreciate the cost of that and who needs the maintenance and all that.
Yeah.
However, I mean, might want to take a look at the preservation guidelines for this district before you decide on what your overall siding style is going to be. And then also too, there's a notation in those preservation guidelines that windows that are added in addition should be similar size to the originals. So we're kind of working with you there on trying to keep those windows small, but also proportional and compatible.
Mm-hmm.
So, before you decide on what your final product is going to be as far as residing the whole house, I would urge you to take a look at those preservation guidelines for this district.
So what would you recommend for that, Carol, as far as, something economical? I mean, obviously we're not going to do the whole thing now, but we definitely want to, comply with the historic preservation aspect of it. But is there an option for that of any kind of vinyl siding in the historic? I did not see that.
I am looking for that right now.
I apologize.
Hang on, bear with me. I'm looking.
Sure.
Let's see what we've got here. Replacement siding such as vinyl or aluminum will be approved. It is the same width and direction of the original siding. And if it will not cover any ornamental trims such as window frames, door frames, corner boards, or friezes. So it looks like they're pointing in the direction of it having it be the same width and the same direction. So not that it would necessarily have to be, cedar shingle siding, but that is, do you have a copy of these guidelines?
I'm sure it's online, correct?
You know what? I am not entirely positive, but I'm sure that the city could provide you with a copy.
Okay.
And then, you know, as far as the massing, the big room addition, a second floor addition, with nothing below it right now. I know you have plans for that, but as we've seen so many times, sometimes for whatever reason, the plan to finish out with a living space just doesn't necessarily come to fruition all of the time. So in order to kind of blend the proportions that you have going on, if you were to make those columns a little bit bigger with trim and maybe even just a fairly modest brick pier instead of the concrete piers, and then just trim those out with a cap and base trim that's similar to what we have on the front porch columns. I think that would go a long way toward making this a little more proportional. And it would also be a much more pleasant view looking out of the family room. You're gonna, you know, that looks like a really nice family room space, and I think it would be a lot nicer to look at some posts that were a little more finished than what we're seeing here.
Okay, so, I mean, I really think the brick's gonna be cost prohibitive, but what if we were to do something like possibly square up the base of that concrete and then put some trim that matches the width of those concrete piers and then paint them white or something and just have base trim and widen the columns as well with some 2x trim of some kind to make those, they're 8x8s now, but if we added another 3 inches to the width, I think that would you're probably right, it would probably help that. And then at the base, you know, wrap those the post bases with some more trim to give it a you know, some trim at the base, and then we could do the trim at the top. And then as long as those concrete piers were the same width as the bottom trim, I think that would probably help that look without having to do brick and add all that cost, because that's gonna, I think that'll be a deal breaker for the owner.
Okay, well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and then I appreciate, you know, addressing the column proportion and trim like you're discussing. Maybe in order to make those piers taller out of the ground, maybe you could make those piers square and then build some sort of frame construction around it, and you know, just kind of box them out that way to make it look a little more substantial. You know, just
the base.
Yeah.
And then leave the 8x8s as they are, just, you know, just.
No, go ahead and beef up the columns like you were discussing.
Right.
But then instead of having like a concrete pier, maybe do some sort of frame structure underneath, and that's heftier, that's wider, you know, and box that out as well, and you could trim that out. That would be considerably less expensive than brick, but it would also help bring sort of a more balanced proportion to having this great big mass up in the air if you had a more substantial looking base for those columns.
Understood. Now, I assume that's going to be a requirement in order to be approved, because again, my client's very sensitive to the cost here, so I'm just trying to do this. If that's a requirement, that's so be it. Then that's what we will do, or that's what we will have to do, or present to the client to see if they will, you know, do that. But
are we making them do something that when they do the room, if they do the room, they've got to undo?
No, it wouldn't be anything that's going to be undone. But correct me if I'm misunderstanding, Kurt, but it sounded to me like you were going to be doing like a concrete patio or something down there in the future,
correct.
Not necessarily an enclosed room.
That's correct.
So then I don't think that you would have to be undoing any construction you just did.
Right. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
To me, I think the proportions of the columns that are on the front of the house are really the proportions you're going for, right, Carol?
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, and so Kurt, whatever those dimensions are in the material, I think that's what we're suggesting, is that your 8x8s, if they need to be trimmed out, you know, and they read, you know, in the same way the front 2 columns on the house do, then I think that's successful in tying the back and the front together. And likewise, the way the entry on the front of the house has the cornice, there's a proportion to that, and it reads. I'm not sure what your thought is on the band board that supports the contemporary piece, but maybe that's also a similar kind of height. Is one thought I had,
Okay.
detail, you know, so you're really taking that front portico scale and you're applying it to the back piece, and then we're not really adding, you know, cost, we're just adding some detail to try to tie the two together. I think that's.
So Bob, you're talking about the base trim at the bottom of the mast?
Mhm.
'Cause
I'm kind of tying that in with the column discussion, because I think the source of this is, you know, trying to make them more compatible. And if you look at what the front porch has, I think that's kind of the key to tying them together.
Now, can we go back to the siding issue? Because, you know, I understand, because I brought this up as well about matching the heights of the existing shingle siding. But if they're gonna, you know, that stuff, I don't know if you saw it up close, but it's in bad shape and I don't think it's gonna last much longer. So if we're trying to match that lap, then I guess all the new, when they wind up doing the new, they're gonna have to match the new vinyl that matches the lap of the cedar now. So is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, that would be the idea.
So it wouldn't fly with what we're showing now. Okay.
Not with the narrow, no.
So you don't currently know what the final siding product would be when they do the whole house?
I do not.
Okay, because maybe, I mean, a material that, and it's more money, but it's a material that would be more empathetic to what's on the house would be that Louisiana Pacific Smart Side. They make a lap shingle type product. I
Okay.
don't know if I want to take you there or not.
And who made that, Ken?
Louisiana Pacific, it's called
Okay.
Smart Side.
LP Smart Side, yeah.
It's not a cementitious material, it's kind of a
Better.
powderized wood that's in an epoxy resin. I've used it before, it's great, good product.
Yeah, and it
It
doesn't
has
require,
a more authentic wood look
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how it compares in cost wise though to the vinyl.
It's
Sure.
more.
That's what I'm afraid of. Okay.
How many square feet of new siding are we doing here? It's a little
Well,
bit.
it's not a ton, but I mean, it's gonna definitely be significant. You know, you're probably talking $1,000 at least. Oh,
I would say so.
up and above the vinyl siding.
Mhm, I agree.
Okay.
On those columns, if you left the 2x8, the 8x8 column the way it is, and say at 3 feet, from 3 feet down, wrapped it with one, I guess, 2x material to give it some heft and put a little slope cap base on it, wouldn't that work too? I don't know, you have to match the front columns. It's not always the
Right.
case that the front column, formal front column on the porch has to be replicated all over the house. So I think that might be the least expensive way to give it some kind of articulation and scale
Mhm.
and have a shaft and whatever, so.
And, you know, I think it'd be pretty simple to square out those columns too, so that, you know, when we do that, it looks like that concrete base is part of that trim at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not putting a square peg in a round hole kind of thing.
I think the important thing is that you would square the concrete off. And it
Right.
probably wants to be a little wider than the wood base, so it looks like it's set on something.
Right. Okay. And now that I think I could probably convince the owner to do, because I think that would be fairly economical to do that, but, okay.
We do have another person who's come online.
Is it Marie?
I think so.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Yes, this is Marie.
Hi,
How are you,
Hi.
Marie?
I'm good, thank you. It took me a second to figure out how to manage it, but so following the conversation, and thank you. So Kurt is putting it delicately. We have no additional money. So I want, just as listening to this, and appreciate all the review, trying to understand the difference in between preferences and what is required as we talk about the vinyl. And then I also want to share in terms of the backyard living space. Had actually moved away from considering concrete. Currently, there's not grass there. It's wood chipped in, if you will. And I don't know if wood chip is the right term, but it's similar product to that. So we're considering refreshing that and having that under there. So and moving away from having concrete space. So wanted to share that, and again, learn more about the vinyl requirements versus preference.
I mean, it's part of the guidelines. It's not
Right,
necessarily.
it's really just the exposure, so the height of it
Mhm.
is what we're saying they should match the house.
Yeah, we can get vinyl siding that matches that, Marie. I mean, it's just, you know,
Mhm.
you
And this is all new to me, guys. I appreciate your comments. It's interesting listening to it. Just want to make sure I understand what we're in for.
Mhm.
So the vinyl siding has to match size, and that is
Right.
within the historic preservation guidelines, I think I heard.
that's correct.
Okay,
So we're going for a match of the profile,
the profile.
the vertical height of.
Right.
Okay. Well, depending
You
on
can do that in,
cost.
you're saying you can do that in vinyl?
I'm thinking, yeah, you can get vinyl in different heights. I know that, but you know, I'm not sure exactly what the height of those cedar shakes are right now, but I mean, are they gonna have to be exactly that?
I think that close, close would do. You might want to check the height, the visual horizontal appearance of those, or the height, and just make sure that the vinyl siding is very, very close to that, especially if you're planning to re-side the entire house in vinyl.
That was my question. Down the road, when you redo the siding, were you thinking you'd go all vinyl, or you throw the vinyl out and go to a wood?
So we haven't even lived here 3 months yet, and
Okay.
we are still trying to figure out many things. So I don't have the full answer to that. Certainly we want to do many things, but I don't know.
Okay.
We just don't want y'all to inadvertently end up in a situation where you might have to undo work that you just did. Like,
Absolutely.
Right, and that's kind of why I was talking about the vinyl siding the way we were showing it, just because we don't know Marie doesn't know what they're gonna do in the future, but I know that it's gonna have to be addressed at some point. So, and I understand the historic guidelines as well, the historic preservation of the look of the house, but it's just kind of a tough situation right now.
Yeah, I do understand, I think all of us here have budgets, so we get it. But yeah, just if you are in the future going to re-side the entire house, you wouldn't want to be in the position of, necessarily having to pull the siding off of the fairly recent addition that you just did.
Mhm.
That at some point that might not bother you, but at this point it probably
Sure.
could. So
Sure.
just something to think about as you set your course.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Marie, I don't know when you stepped in, Marie, but we had also talked about the windows and how we're gonna just make those slightly taller so that they match the upper half of the smaller windows on the side of your house, and then separate them a little bit which I think would look fine. And I think it would look very good too. So, we're talking maybe 2 to 4 inches of height adding
Okay.
those windows. So,
I did hear that. That sounded like the easiest, and that was
Yeah.
your easiest of the conversations, and that made sense to me. So that's certainly don't have concern with.
Okay.
okay.
I did hear a reference to the living room, and this may not even matter, but that room that looks out into the backyard space that you were talking about, that's not a living room. It's like a sun porch.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, it was labeled family room, I think is,
Oh.
I got that idea.
Gotcha. Okay, probably doesn't matter. I just, if it did, wanted to share.
Yeah, and also too, this really, it's a functional thing, but, just being aware that this really large addition up on posts is going to block a lot of the natural light from that sun porch.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
going to create a great big deep shadow. And, when I was looking at that, I thought, oh my gosh, you've got all these really nice windows around what's labeled the family room, the sun porch, but that's going to be casting a really big shadow over that, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's less shadow than enclosing it though.
Exactly. True.
So, and maybe I should wait for Kurt. What does this mean in terms of next steps?
Well, I
Well-
think, yeah, so I think for the board, we've suggested a few things which it sounds like we would need to see revisions to, so that we can vote. We could table the vote till the next session. So make the minor revisions to the columns that we discussed, the windows, and then the detail on the exposure of the siding to match, resubmit the drawings, and then we would have another review the next time. So the point of tonight's meeting is that if those all sound agreeable, then you feel confident that you're not gonna have any issues. So.
All right, would pre-approval be possible if that were the case after we submit?
Only
No.
because you're in a historic district, no,
Okay.
unfortunately, but yeah. So the benefit of tonight is that, these are the things that we would, think that would need to change. And then if you made those changes, there's not going to be any concern on our end, at least.
Yeah, and then, as we were talking about, Kurt, Maria, I don't know if you heard this, but y'all might want to get a copy from the city of those preservation guidelines for your district. So as you're making plans going forward, you can be aware of what those are. I think that would be real helpful for you.
Okay.
Great. Will do.
Okay. Now, as far as those historic preservation guidelines, is that something that pertains to this particular district, or is it? I mean, how would we know that? I'm just trying to figure out how we,
You're in the central Webster district, and each historic district within Webster has its own set of guidelines. So those would be the ones you'd be looking for.
Okay. Because I don't recall seeing that, but okay. All right.
So Kurt, if you get this is Kelly Campbell with Planning and Development, some revised plans by end of day next Tuesday, we'll be sure to get you on the next agenda right away.
Which would be next month?
Which would be next month, yeah. The first Thursday in June.
Okay. So it's only 2 weeks away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
I'm writing this down. Okay. No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks, Kurt and Maria and Marie. We will see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Next on our list is 32 South Maple. Is there anyone online? 32 South Maple. We
Yes,
see
my
Jim.
name's Jim Hotop.
Hi, Jim. Welcome.
Thank you.
Um,
Hey, just one thing I'd like to offer a little information to Kurt. You can purchase salvaged material like cedar shingles, 7-inch cedar shingles, almost anywhere online, eBay, Etsy. I've had a couple projects where we had to match cedar shakes and shingles and stuff. But it's possible to find those materials out there in salvage pools. Other than that, to address Tracy's question about the overhead doors having windows, no, the overhead doors that the owner chose don't have windows, only because it's proximity to the alley. There's no fence or gate or anything on this property. They're on one of the alleys off of I think it's Russell. Is it Russell?
I'm sorry, wait just a
You
moment.
just skipped
folks.
one,
We
yeah.
should be on 32 South Maple
Yes.
right now. Jim, are you on 30? Is that you? 32, not 325.
325.
Okay, we're on
Oh,
32 South Maple. Sorry about
You guys
that.
are still talking about that?
We haven't started yet.
I'm
We
sorry.
haven't started.
That's okay.
It's real confusing. It's just one digit off in
I did
the.
the same thing.
At
Sorry,
5,
I
Mrs.
thought you said 325. I was like, oh.
So do we have anybody out there for 32 South Maple? I don't see anyone.
Oh,
Okay, well.
We got
this'll be
somebody.
s-
Oh, there they
is-
went. Well, they went away.
Mark.
Is there somebody?
Oh, hold on.
I guess I spoke for him, right?
Mark, are you with 32 South Maple?
Mark, it looks like you're muted.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
I am the homeowner at 32 South Maple, Mark Wunsch. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Welcome,
great.
Mark.
I've heard the whole thing on the front moment before me, and I didn't have the speaking going until right now. I'm sorry.
No problem.
So I didn't hear any questions at your pre-meeting about our deck addition. So in view of how long some of them take, I don't want to extend it any if this is not going to be an approval from you.
I'm fine with it the way.
Yeah,
it-
we didn't have any comments. Since it's an historic district, we're required to speak about it, so.
Got it. All right.
Um, Yeah, so I think we're all good with it. Is there anyone else besides Jim or Mark that wants to, that has a comment? And anybody else, and seeing no one, then do I have a motion on 32 South Maple?
I'll make the motion to approve 32 South Maple as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, opposed? All right, Mark, you're approved and good to go.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And now 325 South Maple, we have Jim with us.
I'm afraid to talk now.
You are now clear to speak.
Okay, so back to the questions.
Sorry about that, guys. I was hearing stuff upstairs and then listening to you guys at the same time. But Tracy raised a question about the overhead doors that are being used on this project. And they're a door that are constructed by Coach House. They come with some, you can choose windows if you like, but in this case, they didn't. And the brochure you saw came out of our construction manual. So I just used it to give an overview of what the window would, or the doors would look like. I think Carol had some question about trim work. As it is now, there's 4-inch vinyl trim on each corner. There's some J channel around the doors, but generally on the brick homes in Webster, we haven't been using lineals, but I mean, if you guys would, if you want that, I'm sure we could figure something out, maybe around the windows or whatever. So,
Yeah, I think that when I look at the front of the house and the way the windows are mulled. It's a pretty wide appearance. So I'm thinking that wider trim at the corners and then some trim around the doors and windows that also has some width to it would go a long way to blending the house and the garage addition together. Just it's a minor tweak, but I think it would do a lot to coordinate the two.
I can't speak for the owners, but from the street you can't see the garage. It's off an alley. You have to go around Russell and come in through the alley to see the front of the garage. So that's the only viewable portion of the garage is the right elevation or the right side, and it's got windows and the service door. The other sides are pretty empty, but because of their security concerns, being off the alley and having an open yard is why there's no other breakage in the siding along those sides.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
Okay.
that. I mean, I understand, especially being, adjacent to, close to property lines, you don't want windows and such. But I'm just addressing the trim width itself.
What would you like to see, like a 4-inch trim around the 3.5-inch trim around the windows, lineals?
I think that would help, but even if you could go a bit wider, that would be great.
Okay, I'll check with the salesman, see whether he wants to throw in, and we'll talk to the owners. They may be online listening now, so if they have something that they want to say about it, feel free to go ahead, Dan, if you're on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carol's suggestion's a good one in that, it's going to tie them together more. And you just trade and trim for trim, so.
Right. It's not a big deal to understand right there.
Yeah.
I don't think Coach House will have a big issue with it. And I'm sure they'll just add it to the project and not upcharge or anything. I hope that's what they do anyway. So, Danny, I think you're muted. There he is.
There he is. He's good.
How about now? Yeah,
Yep, you're good.
Dan,
yeah. No, I'm just kind of listening in. Yeah, it sounds like you guys were understanding the concern on the security standpoint of not having windows on the back and the far side there.
yep.
So the garage doors don't have windows on the alley side, right?
The garage doors are actually on the drive side,
Right, there, you're in.
but you can see them from the alley,
Yeah, I got it. Okay,
kind of tucked in the corner back there.
okay. I just wanted to I thought you said there weren't windows in the garage doors, but that's
Well,
fine.
not windows in the overhead doors. There's no windows.
Okay, so I am right in what I'm saying. Okay.
Yes, you are. There's glass in the service door and then 2 windows on the
Right.
elevation facing the house.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think the notion about putting the trim around the windows and the doors is good, and I think it makes more consistent with the main house and the neighborhood, so, okay.
You good with that, Dan?
Yeah, I don't know what that, I mean, realistically or pragmatically, anything's going to look better than the rusty shed we've got back there, but nobody, it's pretty awful right now, but it's getting better. So anyhow,
Right. It's a nice lot. It's a very pleasant area back there. The house is beautiful. So the garage should be too. Yeah.
it's really tucked away back at, I understand, wanting to have it look nice, and I don't want to have an eyesore either, back there by any means, but realistically, there's about 8 people in the whole world that are ever going to see this shed beside.
And I'm one of them, believe it or not.
The others that, drive down to access their homes, there's only 7 homes, I think.
That's a dead end alley too, isn't it, Dan? It's a dead end alley?
It's a dead end alley. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay, so I think if you guys are good with the trim around the windows and the doors to match the house, just the width of it is all we're talking about.
Yeah.
Then I think we can make a motion, but before I do, since it's a public hearing, we have to ask if there's anyone else online that wants to make a comment. that's the point we're at now. Anyone? And seeing no one, then I can ask for a motion on 325 South Maple.
Let me just verify the width of the trim that we're talking about as far as around the doors and at the corners. What width were you saying, Jim and
Well,
Dan?
Generally, it's a 4-inch wide for each elevation as far as the corners, and I've seen anywhere from 3.5 inch to, on up on lineals around doors and stuff. So it'll probably do 4 inch to match or something.
Okay, I'm sorry, you said 4-inch?
It can be if that's what you guys want.
Yeah, I just want to verify if we put it in the motion,
Right.
just to be clear,
Okay.
because then everybody's best interest. So is everybody good with that?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve 325 South Maple with the understanding that there will be 3.5 to 4-inch trim around all of the windows and the doors as the corners of the garage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. All right, Dan and Jim, you're good to go.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, next we have 716 Tuxedo. Is there anyone online?
Can everybody hear me?
Mhm.
Yep.
Judd Fuhrer. Good to see y'all again. Our bi-weekly meeting. I appreciate it.
Welcome, Judd.
So to address all your questions, the front columns are 10 by 10s. The back columns are 8 by 8s. They're square. The whole house is getting re-sided except for the round, what is it? The right side elevation that has the old staircase in it. That'll stay the shake that it is. All the windows are getting replaced, so they're all going to be 6/1. All the trim's going to match what the existing house has. Let's see. Yeah, there will be steps coming out of that back porch, screen porch, so it'll come out between two of those columns. I don't think he knows exactly what the elevation is going to be, so he probably didn't draw them in. So there will be a set of stairs coming down. It'll probably be 2 steps, I think, by what the grade will end up being.
Are those steps going to be the full width of that patio door unit?
It'll be the full width between a set of those columns. So you got 3 columns on that back. So a set of stairs will come out between 2 of the columns.
Okay, I was speaking of the step down from the house to the patio. It looks like the patio.
It's not a patio, that's a screened in porch off the back.
That's a screened in porch. There's no indication that that's a screened in porch. It looks like just an open.
Yeah, it's a screened in porch, so.
Yeah, we need to see what that looks like. If there's going to be a screened in porch back there, it's not even drawn or noted or anything.
What do you need to see? It's gonna have screens. I mean, it'll have screens, and that, Broadview puts the rail in the screen, so it's a screen unit. So, I mean,
You're probably gonna have more columns.
No, you don't
No,
need more columns.
They come in and they do screen sections.
Yeah.
Use a C channel to attach to a column, and I use an H channel to create the joints between the on-running units. I've used the system before.
Are there horizontals?
Pardon?
Are there horizontal members in between? the
They have
screens?
a built-in
They can do whatever you
Just trying to
rail
want.
at the
visualize it.
bottom. Yeah. So
So those posts then, are they wrapped at the
yeah,
rear?
we wrap the posts, and then they put the screen units in between them.
So is that a concrete slab on grade under that roof on the rear? Say
I
it's a
think it's
screen
actually gonna be a wood deck, and it's gonna be most likely wood.
Oh, okay, so the deck's gonna be level with the floor of the house?
Correct, yeah, so there won't be any steps coming out that back
Okay.
screen door. You'll come out right to a wood deck that'll be screened in, and then, depending on what the grade is between that deck and the yard, you'll have either one or two steps coming out between two of those columns.
And
So-
then presumably there is going to be a door out of your screen porch. So,
They include them. It's a standard screen door that comes out of the porch. I can run upstairs and send you a picture. It's on my house right now, so. And then let's see what else. Your other questions were,
So then there would be. there would have to be a-
you were worried about the expansive siding. So the left elevation side, we cannot add a window on the bottom part because that's where all the kitchen, refrigerator, stove is, everything there. I mean, the homeowner's okay with adding a window at the top of the steps. I think Bob recommended that one, so she's okay and he's okay with that one, but that left side is where all the kitchen sits, so trying to add a window there is really not gonna work, so.
Mhm. Okay, any other comments from board members?
Yeah, I think that we have some opportunities to do something to tie the existing house and the new addition, like bringing that shingle siding around maybe to the gable on the left side and a horizontal trim board to separate the two. That would help break up that elevation a bit. Add some detail and some interest to it, and then also the rear elevation has an awful lot of siding and nothing going on. So
I mean, the homeowners are probably on right now. I can ask them if they're okay with adding shake to those top gables to break it up.
How you doing?
Hi, Judd,
Hey,
Carol,
so it's
Trace,
Ki-
Bob, and Ken.
This is Kim and Bill, so.
Kim and Bill, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, we're fine. I mean, if we need to change up the siding a little bit, that's fine. Make it a little.
So
more
basically, they're just talking about putting a shake up in the gables on the top to break up the horizontal siding is what they're talking about, so.
Yeah,
I think
that
that's
sounds like a
fine.
great idea.
Okay. Here you go, Carol, see how easy they are?
yeah, that helps. That helps a bit on that side.
Mhm.
It's still mightily blank.
So is the trim two pieces? It looks like there's like a double frame,
The trim, on the existing house?
like around all the windows.
Yeah, all of the windows is a two-piece, so it has like, it's either a four. It's either a 1x4 or 1x6, and then there's a little piece on the end, so it does have a little profile to it, yes.
What is the siding on the house?
Right now,
No, what's it gonna be?
oh, we're gonna do vinyl siding, probably a
Okay.
double 5.
Okay,
Because LP will break the bank.
I mean, we've had a few of these submissions come through and the drawings are just so light with the information. It's just, that's why we have all these questions, because we're just trying to piece things together.
Yeah.
There's no notes or anything on here.
Right.
Once we submit our final ones, I'll make sure he has all the notes and everything on there.
Yeah, it'll be required for permitting, but just for us to understand the scope of the project too.
That's fine.
So where are we?
I don't know. I guess
Any
I'm trying
other-
to understand the deck part. Is there,
On the back,
yeah, so that'll come out at grade. Or no, that'll come out.
I
at
mean,
the
you're
floor
gonna
level,
have
and then the
basically a back,
stairs-
take it as a back porch coming out of the back door. So it's gonna be built just like a back deck would be with an overhang, and then you take a screening and they screen the whole thing in with panels.
Yeah, I get that, but then the stair, I guess, are you coming down to the driveway side? And is
No,
that
we're
where
gonna
that
come out to
grade-
the backyard side. It'll come out to the higher
Okay.
side.
It's gonna
So
be
it'll
like
probably,
two-
it'll
two
probably be
rises.
2 steps. So
Mm.
it probably maybe 1 or 2 steps. So
Mhm.
if that, so.
If you're using, I'm familiar with the screen system you're talking about. It's a good
Yeah.
looking system.
Yeah, it's a great screen. I love it. So
Yeah, so you're just building a deck that's gonna float a foot or so off the ground.
correct.
Same footprint as what's drawn on the
Correct.
plan.
Correct.
I'd go ahead and approve this with the consideration they're willing to do something up those gables, so.
Yep, and gable on the, we're adding the shakes to the left. And to the rear, Carol? Or,
It was just in the gables was, I think that the most important one would be the left side. That would
Right.
help relieve that blankness a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, this whole submittal is very light on information, and the fact that there was a screen porch proposed for back there that we had to kind of guess about, that makes me a bit uncomfortable about what else might not be called out. Yeah, I just don't feel comfortable approving this with this lack of information.
yeah,
Well,
I've never
I'll
not built
say-
something you guys we'd have agreed to, but
right. No, I think it's just a matter of, I mean, typically we'd have all the notes, and there's quite a few we're having to add to your plans. So,
And this was discussed in a previous informational session as well.
well, you didn't say I had to add notes. I basically changed what you guys asked on that. We added a window downstairs. He beefed up the way the columns looked, and
right.
so I didn't know you wanted him to add notes on the side of it, so.
Yeah. So to me, I think we're talking about the shakes on the left. You're adding, it's gonna be a deck and a screen porch, and you're gonna add a window to the stair on the back.
Correct.
Yes.
So I'm good with those. I don't really have any other issues with it.
Mhm.
I do think it is a bit of a, I guess for us to, maybe we don't all agree.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, as part of the submission guidelines, it's just the minimum, amount of information to be able to add some notes and just kind of get everything complete. And I mean, we're not trying to make it hard on you, and it's just hard to decipher everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Just
here
similar
discussing it right now, and I'm telling you what you're gonna do, and they're gonna send me an email outlining what we have to put on the plans, so it's all gonna be spelled out, and we have to submit the plans. And Will's gonna look at them and be like, okay, they added what they wanted from the ARB. I'll make sure my architect in the future adds more notes to it, but we've discussed what you guys wanted, so I don't see why it
Yeah.
Ken's motion to approve can't go through, so.
I could go ahead and approve this with those considerations being stipulated. And technically, if they didn't do the screen porch and they moved in and a week later they want to put screens on, they don't even need a building permit for that. So they can go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
So what
Yeah.
are we? Who's willing to approve this and who's willing or not willing to approve it?
I'm not going to be able to vote.
Yeah, I'm willing to do it, because I think the changes are simple enough. I mean, they're not, I think in the future, it would be helpful to have all that information.
All right, that's fine. I'll let my architect know he needs to add
One
more minutes.
consideration here would be the deck is so close to grade in the back. I don't see any way they could build that deck and create any kind of problem. It's not like it
Yeah, there's no rail, there's no,
needs lattice or anything else either, so.
no, there's no railing. I think that's part of my thing too, Ken, because it is just a simple platform. And we're talking about a window and the side, you know, on the side, so I'm not sure. We've talked about what the materials are gonna be, and I'm okay to vote on it.
So if it's a two to, hypothetically, if it's a 2-to-1 vote, is that approval? I mean, is that a quorum? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, if there's 3 people that vote, you need at least 3 to vote. So,
Okay, all right, so.
Tracy's gonna abstain, I think, but I don't know. Carol, are you gonna abstain?
Well,
No, I'll be voting, I'll be voting to not to approve. I think this information needs to be spelled out. And I still am not comfortable with the amount of blank siding we have. I do appreciate that, you know, the shingle siding has been brought around to the gables, but yeah, it's still an awful lot of blank siding.
Are you talking about the rear elevation?
I'm talking about the rear and the left side.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with what's there. I mean, it's a little bit of following function, I guess, but I don't see anything about either one of those 2 elevations that would stipulate that we wouldn't approve it.
Well, I'll vote my way and you can vote yours.
So that's fine.
Yeah, and for me, I think the rear elevation with the added window and the stair really helps a lot. I think from the inside especially, I think it'll be nice to come up the stairs and have the view out. And as much as I try to encourage folks to put windows in their kitchen, I know a lot of people don't want to do it. So I'm not going to get too concerned about it. I appreciate the shingles being added to the top, so that helps enough for me to vote. So with that, I think we can call for a motion.
I would make a motion to approve 716 Tuxedo Boulevard with the clarification that the gable on the left side elevation will receive a shake treatment with a base band board. And did we want that on any other parts of the house? No, right? Okay, that's my understanding. Just that one. That's my motion.
Bob had that window at the top of the steps.
They're gonna add a window on the rear. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that had already been taken care of in these drawings, so it's been here before, hasn't it? Okay. And there will be the addition of a window at the head of the stairs?
On the rear elevation.
On the rear elevation, okay.
That there'll be a deck on the back.
Find the plan.
You get those 3 things?
You want to stipulate the wood deck underneath the porch roof in the rear? Okay, all right. I'll make a motion that we approve 716 Tuxedo Boulevard with the consideration that the gable on the left side receive a shake treatment with a waterboard trim separating it from the vinyl siding below. That under the rear, on the rear elevation under that roof, there will be a wood deck, likely within, 12 inches of grade. And there will be the addition of a window at the head of the stairs that will impact the rear elevation as well.
All right. Do I have a second? I can second it.
Second.
I don't know. We've never been here.
I can second the motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed.
And I'm abstaining from voting on
Racy
this
is
one.
abstained, so that's 2-4. And I think that's makes it approved.
That would make it approved. Yes.
All right. All right, Kim and Bill and Judd,
All right,
Hey,
thanks,
good
guys.
to go.
Very much.
Have a good night.
You as well. All right, we have 220 Clara, I think. Yes. Anyone online for 220 Clara? Hello?
Hi, this is Michelle with MRM Manlin, and we are proposing a new single-family residence at 220 Clara with a rear detached garage.
Welcome, Michelle. Earlier in the preliminary, I think I had made a comment about considering putting 2 windows in bedroom 3. I don't know if you
Okay.
got the comment ahead of time. I made that comment based just on a from an interior standpoint. I always think having a bedroom with 1 window versus 2.
So
is
just
a
make
little-
that a twin, would that be acceptable?
I guess so.
Well, yeah.
What
no,
was that?
I mean, that'd be fine with me, or you could do two double hungs that are separate on each end. I would be fine with either
Okay,
one of those.
okay. Okay,
But
that's not a problem.
yeah, it's just kind of a thought just from, I mean, it helps the outside. It's a nicely designed house. And then Tracy, I think you had a comment.
Yeah, I was just looking at the rear elevation and you've got some nice overhangs over the rear doors.
Yeah, and I see the architect actually put them up in the band board. I think they need to be moved below the band board.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of where my mind
Yeah.
was going as well. It'll help
Okay.
protect the door
Yes,
and it'll look a little bit like they're not so high above.
exactly.
Yeah. That sounds good.
I'd be, my comment was that those roofs were interrupting the band board and kind of annoying looking as composed. So if you want to do them, fine. If you didn't want to do them at all, and if you're doing those to make us happy, you're not doing it to make me happy. I'd be fine if you just didn't do the little roofs, but I'm good to go wherever the owner wants to go.
Okay, and this is pre-sold, so I'll just run that by the purchasers and see which way they want to go with that.
Oh,
I don't know
I'm
if
all
all
for
owners
'em.
don't agree with me, but that's my.
Oh, you're for
Right.
'em?
Yeah, that's Ken's opinion, but I
Okay,
think
Learned opinion.
Tracy would, I mean, I'll agree with her. I think that they're great. They look nice on the house. They're very functional. And
no, I agree,
they
yes.
go a long ways to add a character to a house and a functional character.
Yeah, just
Just
protection
to
over that
move-
door.
move-
Okay,
yeah,
from
but
water,
just to
yeah.
move them down. With the
We can do that.
window on the right side,
Yes.
do you want to do twin or are you going to do 2 single double hung? For
I think I
bedroom
need to run that by the purchasers for their furniture placement. You know, I
Okay.
want to give them the option if you're okay with either one of those.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Carol?
sure.
Okay, thank you. Carol, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I think it's a very nice looking house.
Mhm.
Okay. With that, we can move it from preliminary and have a vote. I have a motion, please.
Mhm. I'll make a motion to approve 220 Clara Avenue with the revisions to the rear overhangs over the rear doors, that they'll be moved below the band board. And that an additional window will be added to bedroom 3, either paired together or separated from each other.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, Michelle, you're approved and good to go.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
you too.
You too. All right, and then 621 Cornell, is there anyone online to talk about 621?
Yes, I am. This is Rick Stein.
Welcome, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys are like the hardest working people in show business. God bless you.
Yeah, I think we, Carol, I'll start with you. You had a few comments.
Yeah, actually, there are questions first. Just to understand, are all of your double hung windows, are all of those going to be 1/1, or are some of them 2/2s?
The front and the sides are 2/2. And 1/1 on the rear.
Okay, yeah, that helps a lot, because some of where the center lines are drawn, it kind of intersected that mutton, so I wasn't clear. So even like on your north elevation there, that big window, is that going to be a 2/2 as well?
Not the one in the middle of the elevation?
Yes,
Okay.
because that's drawn as a 1/1, but based on what we just discussed, it sounded like only the back was 1/1.
That window, that's a great question. Because we own that window. That window is already in someone's possession. I'm gonna have to get you an answer. I think it's 1/1.
Okay.
Somebody owns it. I'm confused. You got a leftover from another job?
You're correct.
Can you keep it and use it on another job after this one?
I guess we probably could. So you want, I'm trying to think about this. So that's a side elevation, and it should be 2/2 to match these sides.
Yeah, I mean, generally, when you do a window style, you try and use it on 4 sides, so.
Yeah, so that they all match.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly why the architect, because I had asked him about that, and I don't really know. It's kind of an interesting story, and I heard somebody earlier talk about budget, and I know you guys hear budget to death. This home is actually sold to a young couple, and the buyer, the young man, is going to be the baseball coach at Webster Groves High School, actually. And so obviously we're on a budget, and we're trying not to gussy it up, if you will, to any extent that's going to cost more money.
What kind of windows are they? Are they vinyl?
Yes, sir.
So the mullion's inside the glass, it's not on the surface?
You're correct.
Okay, which, I mean, that, I don't know if that makes me go for it or not, but that's a lot different than if we're doing a simulated divided light on all these windows, and then we had one that wasn't.
Just something to think about. If you were to not do the rear windows as 2/2s in your master bedroom, you'd have a 2/2 on the side and then 1/1 in the back. And that might not bother some people, but it'd bug the daylights out of me. So it just so you know, so y'all and your owners are aware, that may or may not be something that would be a concern for them. So that was just kind of a question and a clarification that I thought needed to be addressed. And then I've got another one, another question. It looks like on the rear at the gable, you have a functional louver back there, and presumably that's to ventilate the attic space, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see anything about a ridge vent or any other type of ventilation, so presumably in order for that vent to work, you would need to have, you have to have an intake and a relief. So we'd want to be balancing that louver just functionally on that front gable, and I didn't see one shown there. So I kind of wondered to verify if the intent was to have a louver on that front gable, and if so, we probably need to tweak that attic window height down a little bit to get it to look right.
I think I would tell you, I would probably say, would you guys be okay if I lost the louver and went ridge vent?
Well, you still need something to feed air from the bottom up.
Well, we could do ridge vent and a couple of mushrooms or something like that.
Mhm.
Or the eaves.
I'm sorry, the eaves, right.
Yeah, you vent the eaves and the ridge.
You wanted to, on the east elevation, which is the front, you're talking about your budget concerns and the 2/2 versus the 1/1. If you eliminated the window up in the eave and just did a nice round vent on front and rear, I would be comfortable with that. And maybe that'll give you enough money to put a 2/2 at the stair.
You know what, when I saw this house, I liked, it was a small little house and it's
Yes,
simple.
agree.
It really, kind of, it's gonna offer decent bang for the buck room wise, yeah.
Yeah, to me, I think that window, the
I like
pictures
it.
of that window is nice on the front. It does a lot for the character of the house.
Mhm.
For me, if you need to vent it, just vent it in the eaves and the ridge, and then you don't have any vent on the back.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Mhm.
Because it's so simple. I mean, to me, that's the east elevation is so simple, just the way you have it. It's perfect.
Mhm.
I mean, I like it too. I just wanted to be clear and not have a surprise, that might catch you.
Right.
As
No,
far
I
as the code requirement for your roof venting.
I appreciate that, and of course, the architect engineer is gonna have to do the calculations for the venting, but there's no reason why, that I can think of why we couldn't do that, do the ridge vent and the eave vent, and even a mushroom if we needed, but I'm sure we'll be able to get enough air in there with
Yeah,
the ridge vent.
I think that would be fine to just vent at the eaves and have the ridge vent, and then just eliminate that louver on the back. I mean, I really, I like this house. It's cozy, it's very thoughtfully planned, and I think it fits very nicely into the surrounding neighborhood.
Thank you, it does, and that's what we were trying to figure out, it's, how can we put a little house in there that's gonna look like it belongs in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I think you did a good job, and we did get, I got the revised elevation that shows the porch rail, and that looks nice.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the front columns? What are those? Oh, PVC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just
So
white,
they're just wrapped.
square, like a farmhouse or rustic look, I guess. Just,
So no,
American Gothic.
yeah,
Mhm.
no kind of detail at the post base or at the top.
no, ma'am. It's pretty plain, square.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's fine.
that's fine.
My only comment was, and it's just a comment, that I'm okay with the 5 columns and what you have there, fine, but you could also go with 4 columns and have 3 bays on the porch, which would probably work with the triple fenestration on the first and second floor in a different and effective fashion, but they're both work, so I'm just saying it. You don't have to do it. I'm not gonna try and
We'll
make you do.
probably need a rail there, huh? Because it looks like we're pretty high up.
Oh, there's gonna be a rail on the porch.
Yeah, they
That's
sent,
that we sent,
Oh, did
I
it?
think you have it,
Okay.
there it is.
The
I'm
revised.
at the old, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
That was an
Yeah.
email that came in late today.
Yeah, no, you're right. I see it now.
But that's just it, whether you want to leave the porch with 5 columns and. as
No,
opposed
I
to
think,
4,
I
that's
think
fine.
that's kind of an interesting thought. I'll share it with the architect. I mean, if you guys are okay either way,
I'm okay either way.
okay.
Yeah, I am too.
Mhm.
Okay,
Fortunate or not all the time is there only one solution. There's always multiple ways to get to a good design, and I think that certainly falls flat in that category.
I guess on the windows is the consensus that it's either 2/2 or 1/1, but not both.
okay.
That's what I think. Does everyone, I don't know, I'm not
Yeah,
speaking for everyone.
This
I
house
agree.
looks good 1/1, or looks good 2/2. It's a
Yeah,
little
okay.
confusing when you got a mix of them, that's all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Any other comments from board members? Well, so I think we're looking at taking the vent off the back and giving you an option on the column spacing in the windows.
That the motion?
With the stipulation that all the windows are the same, one way or the other.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything before we make a motion. Garage looks nice. No, that's a different project. I'm looking at my pile of projects. I'm like, what else did I miss?
The motion would include the front elevation we're approving is the revised with the rail that was submitted, so.
Right. I'm just looking it over one more time. Yeah,
I mean, I had a thought about the overhang over the side door, but I think it's, the whole design of the house is very simple, so I don't know if we want to add that or not,
yeah.
so.
That,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question, right? To bring up. Tracy, I'm sorry, I forgot. Go ahead.
No, I was just, I get concerned about the water intrusion at the window or at the doors when they're just on the flat wall with no protection over the top of them. So sometimes we suggest a little shed roof over the top.
Mhm.
I don't know if
I
that's
don't
something that
think that's a deal breaker. It's probably functionally a
Yeah.
good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes with the house. It's still a simple thing, but it's a very functional thing.
yeah, I had the same comment that was passed along, but it was strictly a suggestion only.
Mhm.
I think it should be left as a suggestion.
Yeah, well, maybe we could just make it optional,
Sure.
if that, everybody's okay with that.
Yep.
I personally, like, if you're looking for your keys and it's pouring rain, it's nice to at least have a little something to huddle under.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we can make it optional.
Okay. That makes it easy for me. Thank you.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna have to see what the architect says. Functionally, I kind of like the sound of it. Like,
Yeah.
like you guys just said, getting out of the rain.
Okay, so I think we can agree to move it from preliminary to vote.
Mhm.
So with that, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve, I forgot the address now.
621 Cornell.
621 Carnell, as submitted with the specification that the windows be consistent, whether they be 1/1 or 2/2 throughout the entire 4 elevations. There would be an acceptable 5-column or 4-column design to the front porch. And the owner has the option of adding a little apron roof over the door on the side elevation, but not required to do so.
And we want to address the venting, removing the gable vent
Okay,
on the rear.
and the vent on the rear elevation will be eliminated, and the venting of the roof will be a ridge vent with, I guess, venting at the gutter condition.
Off it, yeah.
The soffit, right, the eaves,
The,
Correct.
ventilated soffit.
okay,
Did we throw in the porch railing there? Did we get that?
Oh, and we are approving the revised, there's like how many things there? We are approving this utilizing the revised front elevation that was submitted by email
Yeah.
earlier this week. I think that's it.
that's it.
That's my list.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, Rick, you're good to go?
Okay,
Yep.
that's awesome. So I just need to have the architect submit the redone plans with all these changes on it.
Yeah, and just to go
Correct.
for the permit review, what do we find?
2 sets to planning and development, please.
I'm sorry, say that again.
2 sets of the revised completed drawings to planning and development.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, well, with that, I believe the meeting is adjourned. See everyone in 2 weeks.
Thank you. folks.
Sounds good.
Have a good Memorial Day.
You too.
Guys, bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye, everybody.